Welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Serpent. If you do enjoy the videos, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Ripple CEO is optimistic that the crypto firm will get ruling on XRP lawsuit soon and slams embarrassing SEC. It's a new year. We're in 2023 now. You and I know that this thing is finally coming to an end. For those of you that don't know, XRP, or Ripple, was placed into a lawsuit in December 2020. That's right, 2020. 2 days before Christmas. And 2 days before a certain gentleman left the SEC office. And it has been going on since then. Now, over the course of the case, we have seen Ripple take, I would say, if you look at the facts at the moment, Ripple is winning by a country mile. But at the end of the day, it's a lawsuit, anything can happen, and the SEC still have a fighting chance on paper. Now, we know, those that have followed the case closely, if you haven't, I do encourage you to do it. Even though your friend or a YouTube channel or a TikToker or somebody says, it's going to be a win, it's going to be a win. Like, you got to understand that we're only giving our opinion. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing with you my opinion. What's really important for you to make a decision whether XRP is a good choice for your portfolio, for your needs, you got to research this case and understand what is going on and what is happening at the moment throughout the case. If you don't, and you're just relying on third-party information, you might get really, really disappointed. Now, in the case of Brad Garlinghouse, what he's saying here is that he believes that an agreement will be reached in 2023, potentially in the first half of the year. The lawsuit relates to whether XRP should be treated as security and has important applications for both Ripple and the broader crypto market. Now, Garlinghouse sternly rebuked the SEC's legal battle with his firm Wednesday, saying that the conduct of the agency so far had been embarrassing. And I agree. He's saying that by June 2023, we should see this thing end. Now that is very, very, very exciting. And yes, this case is bigger than Ripple. It's for the entire crypto industry. I get very worried when some of you are like, oh, I hope Ripple lose. Careful what you wish for there, because a win for the SEC is a major loss for the entire crypto community. Now, that particular news of yesterday and the way that he said it has sparked, of course, interest of all the big news headlines. Right? So Ripple CEO, XRP also resolved by June, SEC conduct embarrassing. Look, Ripple have been on the offense from the start, and from December 2020, they were very firm. We will fight to win. We will fight to win on our terms, and we won't be settling. Why would the SEC settle? Or how can the SEC settle or lose? Well, for one, it's not a security. So they've always had a tough challenge, the SEC proving that it is. But why would they settle? They're going to settle if not only the embarrassment of losing, but also the potential of never going after another crypto token again in the United States is too costly for them. So they would probably take their chances and lose this one and then live to fight another day to go after stablecoins, Ethereum, Solana, the works, right? Binance. That's why I believe a settlement is coming, and it could be coming even sooner than June. But let's go with Brad Garlinghouse, because I think out of everybody, their CEO is likely to be more accurate than us. So if he says June, I'm gonna stick to June as well. Now the XRP price needs to close above this particular level in order to move up. We'll talk about that today, about where that's sitting, what that looks like, how this can all play out. And I'll show you guys a couple of potential scenarios on how this is all going to play out over the coming weeks. Now, billions of tokens of XRP Rival XLM transferred while Stellar rocks at Davos WEF. So very, very interesting. Nearly 1.3 billion XLM, equivalent to a value of $108 million, were transferred from Bittrex exchange to an unknown wallet. Interestingly, a major transaction involving XLM happened in the midst of the International Economic Forum taking place in Davos, Switzerland at the moment. Coincidence? I don't think so. I don't think it is a coincidence, but we'll keep a very, very close eye on how the cousin of XRP XLM is doing. I often call it a cousin because I see it as B2C, not B2B. Ripple is B2B, and I see XLM XLM as B2C, business to consumer, not business to business as a tech. But I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on it. Can XRP reach $3 in 2023? I love these articles. They always come out right around the time some positive news has come out around XRP. We'll talk about that as well and what that can look like this year. Realistically, I know some of you ask me about $1,000, $2,000, and guys, I'm sorry, but I don't see it at all. Okay, like I've never seen it. I don't want to see it. Can we get, in the not too distant future, but like future, I'm talking like the next 12, 24 months, can we get triple digits, like 100, 125? Yes. But when you start to talk about 4 digits, I honestly think you guys are out of your mind. Now, if it does happen, no one's going to complain, but I personally don't see it. And I've always been very, very strong on my opinion. Now, XRP mentioned in a paper in crypto in Africa. So that's going to be very, very fascinating to look out for and see what kind of major role XRP will play in this part of the world. So very, very, very cool. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye out. And if there's something important that you guys should know about, I'll definitely be the one sharing it to you. But in terms of where we're going with the SEC case, let's see. Step by step, serpents. But as soon as something good comes, I will definitely be the one that takes, gives you guys that information. Now, Ripple does gain ground in Australia as XRP transactions take lead on exchanges. It is one of the, if not the most popular on Australian exchanges. It's dominated the Australian crypto exchange volumes. It's awesome to see, serpents. Is that a coincidence that the serpent is in Australia and this is happening? I'm just kidding. It is good to see though that Australia is proactive when it comes to this particular token or this particular coin, because I do believe that in the not too distant future, the risk versus reward ratio will be amazing. Now take a listen to this. This just happened yesterday. Let's check it out. Take a listen.
Brad, you have already made the distinction between XRP, the token, and Ripple, the company. You are you're a regulated entity, or you're speaking on behalf of a regulated entity. When folks talk about, these different sorts of provisions, you are the person or your various teams doing the paperwork, providing evidence of baseline trustworthiness. What is it like to be a non-bank financial services provider operating at the intersection of these very traditionally regulated financial institutions and less traditionally regulated, less traditional financial institutions?
It's exciting. I feel a obligation to advocate for. There are these new technologies that we can use for the betterment of economic value to our citizens, to our businesses, even to central banks. And I think to the extent we can focus on, hey, these are new technologies that can be used in that way. Like the earliest days of the internet, can these technologies be used in illicit ways? Yes, and certainly we saw the early days of the internet and people called for bans of the internet.
And to be clear, the current days of the internet as well.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, although there was a much louder, higher decibel level call in maybe the 90s when people were, I think, more intimidated by how these technologies were being used. And I think we're seeing that play out in the world of blockchain as well. I thought it was interesting you described the UAE regulatory as light touch.
Said it was described as light touch.
Oh, described as light touch, all right. I actually give huge credit to the UAE.
Do you have a VARA license?
No, we do not. Although we might, I don't know the exact answer to that, but we do not currently. The point I would make though is...
You do not.
Thank you. The point I would make though is the UAE has done the work to codify what the regulations are. I think the challenge, and we discussed this before we got up here, I think the vast majority of players in the crypto space want to be good actors. But I think we have to be clear about what that means. And I think one of the challenges is, and I very much agreed with something the commissioner said, we talk about regulating crypto. I think we should, that's an abstract thing to say from my point of view. We need to regulate the activity. What is it that we're doing? So Ripple is in the business around cross-border payments. Our customers are banks. Our customers are regulated institutions. You can't have a non-KYC, know your customer transaction, et cetera. There are lots of regulations around payments, like know your customer, like AML, anti-money laundering, like OFAC compliance in the United States, et cetera, anti-terrorism finance. So I think when we say crypto's not regulated, I hear that and I think, I don't know what that means. Like Ripple's a very regulated company in lots of different jurisdictions, not yet in UAE perhaps. Although I don't know the exact status in UAE. The point, as much as anything, I think it's a misnomer to describe crypto as an unregulated business. In the U.S., you have in the SEC someone at the chair saying it's the Wild West. Look, there are clearly examples where that's true, but there are a lot of people solving real problems for real customers and taking the air and the froth out of the hype and speculative bubble that really was true in crypto, I think is really healthy.
I think one of the challenges here is there are actually very few people describing crypto as an unregulated business. What they're saying is that it is insufficiently regulated and that there are certain types of activities, separate out the obvious and egregious fraud, scams, and grift, but there are certain types of activities that are either being presented to customers as potentially safer than they are, or the promise of guaranteed returns when there are no such thing. Or in the US, for instance, many investors in certain of these crypto companies, several of which have now gone bankrupt, were under the impression that their deposits were insured by the FDIC, which is that up to $250,000 of whatever the deposits were would be protected. And that was an impression that was in a lot of ways encouraged by the marketing and the advertising of certain types of these entities.
But we have laws about that, right? And now, well, frankly, I think instead of going after Kim Kardashian for promoting
that case was dismissed.
But I didn't actually know that. I think the things you're describing, and even we talked to again backstage, like if there's fraud, we have laws about that in major
But I think
jurisdictions.
what I would love to get the perspective of the commissioner on is,
I think it's really, really fascinating the way that he talks, the way he describes the situation. And to be honest, I don't think she really had too much to say, towards how he was speaking about everything. And it's really, really fascinating when I hear him speak. And yes, there are gaps at the moment from a regulatory perspective, but if the rules were more crystal clear, then everybody would play by those rules. And that's the biggest frustration that everyone is experiencing at the moment in the United States, is that they want to do the right thing, but the rules are vague at the moment, and that's the biggest issue. All right, so what can we expect at the moment from the market coming up, in the not too distant future? I want to show you a pattern from early days, right? Before the 2017 pump. And this is like 2015, middle of 2014, 2015, right? And you can see what happened there. And so can we see a repeat of that? If we were to see a repeat of that, then we would be heading towards the 17 cent area. Now, is that likely to happen? Look, the past doesn't always predict the future, but sometimes it does leave clues. And so what's really important is to keep an eye out on this particular pattern. I've always said 20 to 21 cents is possible coming up. But again, it's just my personal opinion, and I could be completely wrong, which is why it's always important for you to back it up with your own research. I still am of the 20 to 22 cents, 25 cents opinion before we do continue to scale up. But at the moment where we're at, there's a lot of you who are very, very confident that we are starting to move up. I believe it's a bull trap at the moment. Only time will tell who's right and who's wrong in regards to everything that's going on. I see 20 cents. Some of you have asked about 10 cents. I don't see it. Again, it's just a personal opinion. It's not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I see us going all the way to 20 cents, climbing up, and then starting a multi-year bull run for XRP as the on-demand liquidity happens, as the case settles, as Ripple IPOs. Ladies and gentlemen, I could not be more excited to be with you, and I will be with you every single step of the way. If you did enjoy today's video, then don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. As always, thank you. Look forward to see you on the next one.